This is Chet Holmgren, and I'm down to dunk.
This is AJ Mitchell, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Alex Crusoe, and I'm down to dunk.
It's like baby bottle pop. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is Adam Flagler, and I'm down to dunk.
Hey, it's Isaiah Hartenstein, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Cason Wallace, and I'm down to dunk.
I can't spell Lucas. Hey, how do you spell Lucas? How do you spell Lucas?
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
This is Nikola Topic, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Dylan Jones, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Isaiah Joe, and I'm down to dunk.
And there's probably like 50 to 75 Beanie Babies.
Give me like your top 3 Pokemon.
Bro, I can't even name.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
Sometimes the way his brain works is it leaves a lot to be desired.
This is Kenrich Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
Charmander.
Yeah.
Charmander. Or you're more of a Charmeleon guy.
Charmeleon.
This is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
Schlecht. You know what
Schlecht?
it means? Yeah.
That means like bad.
It means bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Well, it was a good interview, so it wasn't bad.
J-Dub, year 3, and I'm down to dunk for the 3rd time. Thank you.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Mondays is my good friend, Michele Berra. Michele, what's up?
Well, we had an amazing, fantastic, exciting game last night.
Yeah.
I almost switched off midway of the first quarter this time, not even the second one. Like it's, I mean, I was telling you before we started recording, against New York, it felt like, well, they are missing a ton of shots. It would be like a one-way game anyway, but not this kind of performance. Against the Wiz, it's like, bro, these guys are not even an NBA team.
Mm-mm.
And it's not like they are not, because it's, I mean, last time in OKC, they kind of gave OKC fits for 18 minutes or something. I mean, the way in which OKC approached the game, I mean, they were just out of it in 5 minutes. That is the quickest I've seen a team quit.
Yeah. Yeah, they are done. The season's over for the Wizards. They're already looking to next season. And the style of play and the stuff that you would hope to see with a team that's trying to develop like a culture is not there at all. And like some of it is they just need to trade some of these guys that they have on their team. Like Kuz, he's got to go. Like Kuz is not good for that team. A Jordan Poole, also not good for that team. Like they need to develop something within that culture, and it's not happening right now, especially just with those guys there. But the Thunder looked great. So good that we got to see Alex Dukas take and make a shot in which Shea got a technical because he's waving the towel, and he kind of he stepped into the play, waved his towel and got a tech. And there aren't many techs where immediately the player is apologizing. It's pretty rare. I believe this is Shea's 6th tech in his career. There's not very many. And he immediately is just like apologizing. Oh, my bad. It was just ridiculous. But just like a sign that like Shea is fully invested in this team and in what's going on the court. It would be so easy for anybody on the bench to just be chit-chatting, talking about this upcoming Sixers game, what they're going to go, where they're going to go eat after the game in DC. There's a lot that they could just chit-chat about, but instead, he's fully locked in on the game and fully locked in and aware that Alex Dukas does not have NBA points yet, and ready to cheer when the guy actually makes his first career points. That is pretty cool. That is not something that's happened on every NBA roster. I can tell you that.
Do you think that's the first NBA point means that guy is paying for dinner? Is that why the bench was so excited?
They better not be making Dukas pay for dinner. Come on now.
Yeah, I know. Free dinner for Dukas.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. I wonder if there are. I mean, the reason why the referee got him the tech is because probably Shea like screamed some like absurd profanity in excitement for Dukas. and the ref maybe did not understood where and why those profanity were said. But anyhow, it's just a lot of fun, and and yeah, clearly this team they are pretty united. Like it's apparent they really cheer no matter who's on the court, and yeah, I mean, it even in a game like this, there were moments where you could see stuff, and I mean, for example, Case and Wallace. At one point in the game, I was there in my morning routine. I said, "Okay, go get it," and he just pick up the ball from I don't remember whom, probably Kuzma. I mean, those moments in a game that you are winning by 25, that you are like you're having the grit to go compete and get another steal, that is different. That is not like an usual way to play basketball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these guys. I think that we probably even joked about the 0-0 mentality at times.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a real thing that I think that they have like hammered into the DNA of this Thunder squad, and that they really do just play as if the score was 0-0 and as if their record was 0-0 all the time, which is pretty cool thing to do. And it's something like I'm just around the Thunder enough, and that it seeps into the way that I coach even my kids at times, where it's like, don't even pay attention to the score, because that's how the Thunder play for the most part, is as if they don't even know what the score is, which is pretty amazing. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Also amazing is seeing Lou Dort hit mid-range jumpers. Did you think that we would see anything like that last night?
Yeah. I wonder if there was a bet going on, like where Lou had to score in a certain way, a certain amount of points, because it was like too deliberate for him. Like he took the first 3 shots were 3 mid-range jumpers where he like just to get into the paint, didn't get deep, and just stop for a mid-range jumper. I mean, it's either, I mean, I'm saying bad, but maybe, hey, Lou, this is a game where you try out stuff. Just go and try out those stuff.
Yeah.
And it's, I think that the team clearly takes some of the games with a certain kind of relaxed rotation. Not like relax, hey, we're playing soft. No, but it's also an opportunity to try and do stuff that you can't really do in practice, because yes, you can try, but it's not really the same in a game with the referees, in a game like environment. It's good to try out stuff, and yeah, it was clear to me that Lou was trying to do something, and it's perfectly okay. I mean, I just want to talk about Wiggs. Wiggs is on a tear, and it's beautiful to watch. I mean, he's so versatile. So he makes like 0 mistakes on offense, which is something that it's still incredible to me. The guy can do just about everything with the ball in his hands in terms of finishing, shooting, maybe not creating too much, but he is just an amazing finisher. And it's, I mean, I'm glad that he's taking a few games where he can score in bunches, because he deserves that.
Yeah. I was looking at 2-man lineups with the Thunder, and Shea and Aaron Wiggins in 447 minutes together, which there's a lot of noise in here because there are a lot of different guys that play with these guys. But can you guess what the net rating is of those two guys in almost 500 minutes?
Plus 18.
They're plus 21.8.
Yeah.
Together. There's only one other duo there's actually 2 duos that are better with Shea. Can you guess who they are?
Well, I was just scrolling through Canadian Glass, so
this is on NBA.com, by the way.
Yeah, I know, but it's probably Shea and Joe.
Shea and Joe are not quite as good as Wiggs. Let me find the number, because it's still good. They're plus 17.
Yeah.
So there's 2 others that are better.
Shea and Kenrich.
Shea and Kenrich is the number 1 duo for the Thunder in 233 minutes. They're a plus 31.2. which is like these like small ball spurts that they have with
Yeah.
Kenrich there are working again. I mean, that is like evidence that these lineups with Kenrich Williams are working again. So per 100 possessions, when Shea and Kenrich Williams are on the court, they're outscoring opponents by 31 points. That's what that means.
Yeah.
And then Shea and Caruso are actually
Yeah.
number 2 at a plus 22.6, which is something to be excited about. 250 minutes too, which doesn't seem possible that he's played that many minutes with Shea this season.
Yeah.
But he has.
I just wonder the lineups with Isaiah Joe, Caruso, Wiggins, Chet, and Shea, what kind of net rating they can have. I'm just daydreaming about it.
I know. It would be pretty wild. It's like it's funny because I'm looking at like the top 52 man groups and there's not one negative. Like the worst group is a +6, and this is like the top like 52 man groups for the Thunder. The worst is, God, I hate how the NBA.com does this. It's AJ Mitchell and I assume J-Dub in 300.
Yeah.
Like but they're still a +6. They still have a 98 defensive rating.
Yeah. I mean, the point with J-Dub is if you look at the numbers in Clean the Glass, you say, wow, -13 with him on the court compared to when he's off.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that those lineups are bad. Those lineups are actually league average, if not better. The point is that with Shea is the leader of the unit and is just with shooters against second units. That is killing like opponents, just destroying them.
+30. I mean, like that's where they are, and it's hard to be better than that. I mean, the Thunder have the best net rating in the NBA at a +12.7. And remember, everybody was going gaga for the Boston Celtics net rating last year, which was a +11.7. And so if the Thunder can hold any semblance of this +12.7, I mean, that is something very unusual. You go back to the 22-23 season, the best net rating in the league. Do you know what it was? It was Boston again.
I don't know, +8.
+6.7 was the best one.
Yeah.
I mean, like that, this Thunder team is highly unusual. It's unusual to have a double-digit net rating. People are going crazy for it because it is strange. The 16-17 Warriors, which is the first Kevin Durant team Warriors, you know what their net rating was?
They were good, but not like insanely good. I would say like +7.5, something like that. Maybe a little bit more.
They were 11.7. They were good.
Oh, okay.
But to find a team that's a +12, I mean, I'm having to go back to the days of like nobody is still playing in the NBA days. Playing today. I mean, this is a very unusually good basketball team. Like this is an anomaly. This is a generationally good defense, a generationally good basketball team that we're seeing. The wild thing about it is that they're not even whole yet. We haven't even seen them one time with everybody healthy. I mean, you go back to the 96-97 Chicago Bulls, won 69 games. Very nice. 11 plus 11.8.
Yeah.
And
it was like it was different kind of brand of basketball. I have no idea if it was harder or easier to get the net rating like that. I have no clue.
There's nothing comparable around it. So my guess is that it was not easy to get a double-digit net rating.
Yeah. I may venture that without the 3-point line, it would be a little bit harder to do to get like. So I mean, but that's I'd have to think hard about it and find a mathematical explanation of why it's harder or easier. But anyhow, increasing variance means that thing it's more variable, so it's actually likelier right now. But anyhow, this team is crazy good. They didn't mesh completely with Alex Caruso. They didn't try the Hartenstein Chet. they are still playing units with centers that are. I mean, with Kenny is working very well. I cannot think that with Chet Holmgren that unit works in a different way. Like Chet is as good offensively, even if Kenrich is having like an insane year in terms of efficiency. I mean, I don't have the splits in front of me, but he is shooting lights out, making his free throws. So again, this team can be better. One difference that this team has is that they play really hard every single time, and they feast on. I mean, this game they could have been just letting it go. Instead, the Dukas comes in, and the team still plays hard. It's not like, hey, we're plus 30. Who cares? No, they are kind of. I mean, against the Knicks, they destroyed them. It's not like, yeah, we're winning. It's fine. No, we are going to destroy you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just look when you looked ahead to this schedule. We're in like mid-October or whatever, and you're looking ahead, and you're like, okay, we're going to find out who this team is. Find out what they're made of in this stretch.
By mid-January, we said.
Yeah, with Memphis on the 29th of December. Like we found out who they are.
Yeah.
And that they are like a generationally good regular season team. Like that's who this team is. Like the numbers do not lie as to who this team is. I mean, they have the MVP of the NBA on their team in Shea. They have another all-star in J-Dub. They have a top 10 center in Isaiah Hartenstein. They have a guy that's going to make all defense in Luguentz Dort.
Mm-hmm.
They have a young guy in Kaysen Wallace who Kaysen has been really, really good lately. Has played really, really well. You mentioned Wiggins, who's almost scoring 10 points per game off the bench. You have Isaiah Joe, who just blew up. You and I got to talk about it for Thunder After Dark on OKC Dream Team, our Patreon show, which you can go find at patreon.com/OKC Dream Team, and you can subscribe there to get extra content from Michele and I. But Isaiah Joe was just a beast.
Yeah,
I could not believe what he did in New York, and neither could the fans. It was a different response from the crowd. The crowd in DC was you could hear them chanting MVP. You could hear them chanting OKC. You could hear Knicks fans booing their team.
Oh yeah, big time.
Shea and Isaiah Joe did to them. They ended that game so quickly. I mean, that was 2 games. I thought, hey, depending on what happens with Towns, like this could be kind of a letdown game. And the Cavs had their letdown game against Indiana. They got their butts kicked by Indy last night. And the Thunder did not have a letdown after that Cavs loss. They looked more motivated than ever and just dismantled the Knicks and did the same thing to the Wizards. And then they have poor Philly on Tuesday night, in which that Philly team, I don't know if you've gotten a chance to watch them this year, and maybe they get it together a little bit for tomorrow. But boy, that is a mess of a basketball team.
I watched a ton early, but then after the first few months, when McCain went down, I said, "Yeah, okay, maybe I'll not watch as much."
Yeah, the McCain thing really stinks.
Yeah.
The McCain thing really, really stinks.
By the way, can you guess the average of Aaron Wiggins the past 10 game?
Points per game?
Points per game, and then you have to tell me 2 overall field goal percentage and 3-point percentage.
Is he 16 points per game? Somewhere around that?
Last 10, no, a little bit less.
So 13?
Yes, around that. 12.7.
56% from the field.
Higher.
60% from the field.
Higher.
64% from the field.
61.3%.
Whoa, 61% from the field. What is he? 50% from 3?
No, 43.
43. Okay.
Yeah, on 22 minutes. Can you guess now the last 5 games? That's stupid. Those are stupid numbers.
Is he at 16 for the last 5 games? Or is it
15.2?
15.2, 65% from the field.
Higher.
70% from the field?
Higher.
No, 75% from the field?
72.5
Oh,
on 8 field goals.
is he 51% from 3? What is he?
Higher.
55?
55.6% from 3 on
Wow.
3.6 attempts.
Goodness.
The point is, the attempts are not like it's like 3.6. It's not bad for Wiggs. This is very good.
No, it's not bad. Not bad at all. Wow.
And by the way, Kenny is 53% from the field on 42.6% from 3 for the season.
Wow.
That's not sustainable, I would say, but I mean, let's take it.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been a very impressive run from the Thunder, and to have Aaron Wiggins playing like that is just a complete joy. Yeah, I mean, basically, they've lost. So they lost. Remember, they lost 2 in a row against Dallas and San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Since November 20th, they've lost 3 times.
Yeah,
I guess 4 times if you want to count the cup game.
Yeah,
which is still so painful that I forget that it happens. So it's just
but that's a weird game.
It was a weird game. They've got a lot to figure out with the cup. They've got to figure out the spacing a little bit. But yeah, I mean, they lost to Houston by 3.
Yeah.
They lost. Oh, this does count Milwaukee. I'm sorry. This does count the Milwaukee loss. So 3 times.
I was trying to understand which one was the other game and said, well, maybe he counted one of those 2 losses.
Yeah, that was the weird Fred VanVleet game where he hit just that he had a crazy game. But he hit that bomb that was just like they only lost by 3. They lost by quite a bit to Milwaukee and just a sludge of a game. And then Cleveland. That's it. It's really just Houston and Cleveland since November 20th.
Yeah. And if you count like these 3 regular season losses since November the 20th, you have a 3-point loss against Houston, you said, then a 7-point loss against the Cavs.
The Cavs, yeah.
And then the one before, well, anyhow, it's just
6-point loss to the Wemby-less Spurs, which was just kind of embarrassing. But remember, the context of that time was that they didn't have a big.
Yeah.
In either of these 2 games, they lost 2 in a row, and then they lost to Dallas at home by 2.
Yeah, and then in Denver by 2 again.
But yeah,
so
in Denver by 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they beat the Knicks of an amount of point that combined is way higher than that all the regular season losses combined.
Yeah, that's how you get this crazy net rating. Like that's exactly how the math works itself out.
Yeah, it's just they are crazy good. They approach the game in a real way. I was the host. Well, I was a guest on this Italian podcast, and
Were you terrified of being on there because you're going to?
Yeah, I'm kind of terrified, but Dario is such a good friend that I can't say no to that. He was very good to me. So and I really enjoy his basketball mind. So it's really an opportunity for me to talk with someone who watches. He does basically is one of the Italian commentators for the NBA. So he watches a ton of basketball, and he said that during the telecast he was talking with this Italian player that is his technical, basically the guy who makes the technical stuff in Italy. It's one that talks the game, they call the play-by-play, and then there is a technical one that tries to explain what basketball and blah blah. And they're saying, well, we kind of felt like Dagnall didn't adjust that much to that zone and also to the short role play of Cleveland. I said, well, yes, it is true. I noticed that as well. I wonder if in the regular season it's more important to see if the players, while playing a certain style, can establish it without getting lost into the game. But I think that there is some truth to the fact that it took Mark a little bit too much to adjust to that zone, and they really didn't figure it out. So I wonder if this is something that during the season, it's also a point of, hey, will this be done by the end of by the postseason? How the coaching staff will adjust in the postseason? Because this, I think, was a very interesting observation. And yeah, I mean, this is also what the regular season is about, like testing those moments. And when you fail, try to see why you did, and make up in the next game. So I'm really, really curious to A, to have your opinion on this, and B, to see how this goes in the rest of the season.
Yeah, they certainly have things that they need to work on. I mean, my opinion on the zone, is that what you're wanting my opinion on for the most part?
Yeah, zone and like how they defended the short roll against the Cavs, which was big to big passing, which kind of was guarded without switching too much to avoid letting the Cavs just feast on the interior.
Yeah, Jared Allen was really good.
Yeah,
and as was Mobley. I don't think that they were that. I mean, they clearly weren't that far off from winning that basketball game. Some of it was like just bad shooting from them. So I have very little concern about it. It did take them time to like crack that zone, and at times they just couldn't. But like a lot of times, the way to crack the zone is that you just have good shooting from the perimeter, and when you don't, and you stagnate, and that basically the other team is going to make your shooters prove it, and they prove that they're not going to make shots in that game, then you're just kind of cooked.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's an unsolvable problem for this team. We're going to see more of it on Thursday when they play the Cavaliers again.
Yeah.
And I also just can't help but think about Chet.
Yeah.
About them playing against
exactly my comment to that. Yeah, I wonder if you can play that with Chet, which is G Guthrie on the chat says that basically the same thing. Yeah, with Chet, I wonder how that works, because you can really put him at the nail and just let him create from there. If you stay home against him, he will just murder you with his jumper.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that Chet changed the equation a lot against them, because they can match up then. Because I think that Hartenstein and Jared Allen are about the same caliber of player, and I think that Chet's a better player than Evan Mobley is.
Yeah.
And I think that the Thunder have, like, Shea is better than the guards that they have. So I think, like, when we're talking about just matching up, and the Thunder defense is just better than theirs too. And so if you just inject some life into their offense with a guy like Chet, who can create his own shot, he can shoot it from the perimeter, he can do a lot of things, then yeah, I think that helps. I also think having Alex Caruso off the bench too, just as a spark, and a guy that knows how to move within the offense as well, will help. So I think that they have a lot more that's on the way. I think those guys are going to play together this season, and we'll see Caruso, sooner than we see Chet, certainly. But yeah, my concern level is pretty low against Cleveland. I still want to see this team against Boston when Boston gives their best punch, because I don't think we got to see that when they played in OKC a week ago.
Yeah, they shot the ball so poorly.
It was really bad. I want to see them play Boston with their best punch. And if that, to me, is still the thing that I'm most scared of coming out of the Eastern Conference. I know the Cavs have been amazing this season. I just want to see what happens down the stretch of a playoff game. I just think that it's the world changes, and it changed for the Thunder too. I mean, things look different for OKC in the regular season last year than they did in the playoffs.
Yeah, they were the best shooting team in the regular season.
They were.
And probably one of the worst in the postseason.
And a lot of the things that happened, I don't think that we would have forecasted being problems for them in the playoffs, because the game just changes. Everything is so much harder in the playoffs. And so, I mean, I think even another team that Donovan Mitchell played for, and this is not an indictment on Donovan Mitchell, but like the Utah Jazz had an incredible team not that long ago. And they were an amazing regular season team. And you could point to all these stats and say that they're this, they're that. And even people, frankly, could even say about the Thunder right now is like, you just have to go prove it in the playoffs. And if anyone is skeptical about the Cavs or the Thunder, like, I get it. It's a different animal. I mean, you basically, once you get there, it's great. You earn your seeding by what you did in the regular season, but at that point, it's just, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what seed you are at that point. It's just about, can you bring it now? And there are guys that bring it, and there are guys that don't. And we haven't really seen the Cavs bring it in the playoffs. They got to the second round just like the Thunder did last year. And both teams have a lot to prove once we get to playoff time. They look like teams that should be in the conference finals. They look like teams that could meet in the NBA finals. Absolutely. They look like
they have to do it.
You
have to go and do it.
You have to go do it. And that's why when you think about bringing Alex Caruso onto this team and how important he is, like, that's somebody who's done it. He's gone away. He's played with a guy in LeBron James who knows how to win at the highest levels. And to have that kind of guy on your bench, I think, is so vital, because you look up and down this roster and it's largely inexperience in the playoffs. Like, they have not been there, done that. And to just have a guy on your bench that can say, hey, this is how it went for us in the bubble.
Yeah.
This is how we won the whole thing. And a guy that can help you. I think that is so, so important for them to have, and something that we really just don't talk about that much. But just having that championship experience on your bench means a ton. And it's probably why the Cavs have kept Tristan Thompson around. It's just like, we just need somebody who's been there. Not
for the rebounding and grit.
Not for play on the court, but just to have have an adult in the room. Is a big deal. So I just think a lot about that when I'm thinking about, like, the Cavs and the Thunder. My brain goes in 1,000 different directions, as it just did.
Yeah. My brain now goes to one topic that is completely out of our discussion, but I have to take it out of my mind. Can I? Then I'll go back to my actual. So I was reading. I can't help myself but reading a little bit of the chat, and there was like a message at the beginning saying, do the Wizards believe that Jordan Poole is their Shea? No! How can you think that? Like, those are extremely smart guys. I really think that they love what they are seeing right now, because it's Cooper Flagg seems really good. And if you can get that guy, you can sustain a season of Kuz and Poole, like, killing your team. If they get Cooper Flagg, I would bet a lot of money that those two guys are okay. I mean, we'll waive you. I have 2 years of salary. We don't care. It's just thank you for your services. We got what we need. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to say it. Back to what these numbers and what the regular season that we're seeing can mean for the postseason. And there's also a post that says, well, defense translates to the postseason. This is actually true. And especially a defense like the one that OKC is putting on the court. I vividly remember, I think it was Mike Breen, discussing the fact that Draymond Green is always with his hands in the cookie jar, probably was Stan Van, I don't remember, maybe Stan Van. Lou Dort is like that. Cason Wallace is like that. Chet Holmgren is like that. Caruso is like that. Shea, J-Dub, they are always with their arms, not just the ends in the cookie jar. In the playoffs, the referees will have a different whistle compared to, this game who had like too many free throws, like 33 and 35, whatever. Mm-hmm. And if you are aggressive from the second that the game starts, and you can sustain that energy for a series, that pays dividends. I know that you need to have offense, because you will face a team that shoots better than you, like Dallas. But I think that this year, OKC will be able to put such a high defensive level for 48 minutes against basically everyone, because they can play any style, that will translate. Now they have to shoot in a normal way. If you shoot 28%, no matter what defense you can put on the court, you will not win a series. But boy, this defense this defense is something.
Yeah, and the fact, I mean, that's it's one thing that the Thunder couldn't do last year is show you different looks. They basically had the one look and they had the small ball, and they were both quite similar, in the way that they functioned. And so just to have Hartenstein to throw out there, and then when you have Chet and Hartenstein, you can throw the Chet only out there. You can throw Chet and iHart together. You can just throw iHart out there. It's three vastly different looks that you can go to. And I think that's, when you think back to like the 2016 Thunder, the thing that they had going for them is that they could do similar stuff where it was like they could throw two bigs out there. You could go with just Ibaka at the 5. You could do a lot of different things. And that's like how they made it through the playoffs to 7 against the Warriors and beat a historically good, another team that had a double-digit net rating, by the way, was that San Antonio Spurs team in 2016 that many people did not think the Thunder were getting past that team. That team, when you look at the numbers.
Steven Adams and Enes Kanter, that unit killed in Game 3 and Game 4 the Warriors, the Spurs.
Yeah.
It was like, what the hell is Billy doing with this lineup?
I know.
Like, just space the court.
Yeah.
He was just dominating the boards, giving OKC all the second chances, and they won because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. And like the Thunder are going to have a chance to have a double big lineup like that. Obviously, way more versatile.
Yeah.
We just talked about it the other day. It's probably the two best centers the Thunder have ever had on the floor at the same time who can function. We haven't seen it happen yet, but theoretically these guys can function together. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And that to me is going to be the difference in the postseason this year versus last year. Last year was like, hey, we have this fastball, and it's one of the best fastballs in the NBA. And it just wasn't good enough against Dallas, even though it was quite close. Like, don't let anybody trick you to think that the Thunder got their butts beat by Dallas. They literally had the exact same amount of points in that series, and they were one play away from going to Game 7. That was a very, very close series. And when you think with
a gigantic shooting luck for Dallas, because go and rewatch all the retake all the stats and look what was happening before or after. Even wide open shots, Dallas never had that kind of regular season luck before or after that moment. So it doesn't mean that OKC should have won the series. It's just mean that Dallas had some shooting luck. Period. Yeah. This happened, and it's part of the reason why OKC lost. Not the main reason, not the only reason. That's one of the reasons.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like you take away Josh Giddey, God bless him, add in Alex Caruso, and add in Isaiah Hartenstein, and add in the experience of everything this team has gone through over the last calendar year.
Yeah.
I mean, you asked J-Dub, okay, what's the difference between last year and this year's defense? He's like, well, we're a year older. It's like what he brings up. And that is a point that I don't think people bring up enough. It's just that like the experience that this team is gaining together is a big deal.
Yeah.
And continues to be something that helps propel them. So,
and there is one other thing that is, to me, it seems quite substantial.
Mm-hmm.
Shea is better, better for real. He's not the same player that he was last year. I think we said it on the After Dark, but there was a moment in the Knicks game where they went into a 6-point, 6-0 stretch, and it was Shea stealing the ball twice and putting the game to bed with his defense, not with his offense.
Yep.
And offensively, it's just, I know that the percentage are probably the same, but the will that he imposes on the game, it's something that I saw last year, yes. This year, I see it almost every game.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every game. And it's just amazing. Shea is better, which, I mean, it's almost nonsensical because he was just a top two.
It is and it isn't, because the guy has gotten better every year.
I know.
He just has.
Yeah, but to keep going up, that's no easy feat. Like it's not easy to do.
No,
No.
No, it's definitely not easy to do. You have to have a crazy level of commitment in order to do this. I mean, this is what like the great, like the top 10 guys. There's the basketball 100 put out by The Athletic, and my oldest son has been reading it, and he'll come to me and he'll be like, he'll want to talk about Akeem Olajuwon the other day, and he's like, he's like, you never told me that Akeem Olajuwon was in the Michael Jordan draft. You know, like we get to have these like super fun conversations about stuff like that now, which is awesome. But when you think about like some of the guards that are in the top 10, like Kobe Bryant was a guy that just continually got better and better and better and better.
Yeah.
As his career went on. Same thing with Michael Jordan. And I think like the thing that is changing for Shea even is like the leadership stuff. And even this technical foul that he got yesterday is kind of a symbol of that leadership, and that he is so locked in from 1 to 18 or from 1 to the blue with this franchise that he knows to cheer for him. Like he knows like that wasn't just like a moment. And part of the reason why it wasn't just a moment that Dukas had on his own, it's a lot of those guys, these two-way guys, or these guys that are getting 10-day contracts or whatever, are going to celebrate within their own self about what happens. But that the fact that this roster is locked into each other that much, I just, that to me just rang significant. Like it's something that doesn't really happen. I just thought that was a very cool moment for this team. And yeah, Shea, while the numbers look pretty similar to last year, like he is clearly just in control on both ends.
Yeah.
He brings it every single night. He is, the missing Chet is a big deal. Having Chet last year for 82 games was a huge lift to them. And I know
Especially defensively.
Yes. Yes. And to not have him, and for there not to be a drop off, like that's the crazy thing, is that there's not a drop off is a lot because of Shea, and a lot because of J-Dub too. Like J-Dub has been really good. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to give Michele a little stat quiz on the catch and shoot jumpers for the Oklahoma City Thunder. We'll be right back. And we're back after that quick break. Michele, let's go last 15 games for the Thunder, which have been quite good for OKC. One, can you tell me who's taking the most catch and shoot threes for this team in the last 15 games?
I know because I am like a listener of the Slam and Jam.
Yeah,
that Lou Dort is one of the leaders of this stat. So
Yes.
I guess that Lou Dort might be number one.
He's number one. 5.1 attempts per game.
Thank you, Slammers.
45.8% during the last 15 games. Lou Dort has, especially you, Michele, has proved all the haters wrong in so many ways. He's been, that guy is another one we talk about Dub. He's gotten so much better.
Or you can swing it in another way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Lou Dort finally, because I was saying these things.
Hey,
if only he could focus more on the things that he is exceptional at, he would be a great player.
Mm-hmm.
I was right. Did I have any trust that he could have done it? No, but he proved me wrong on that. The message was right. My attitude towards it was not. I'll own it. Yeah, he's a spectacular case of initial development, and then the second step that he took in year 4 was just as insane as the first one.
Yeah, it is wild. Okay, who's next on this list, Michele?
So we know because we said it that that Wiggs is at 3.6 attempts, and those are basically all catch and shoot. But I think there is someone who is slightly higher than him. So I bet that Isaiah Joe took a little bit more catch and shoot attempts than Wiggs.
He's number 2 with 4 attempts per game. He's only shooting 33% in the last 15 games.
Yeah.
Which the Thunder
Can you
blocked.
imagine like what that percentage was before the Knicks game?
Oh, putrid.
Yeah.
Putrid. Alex Caruso would have been next, but he's only played 5 games, so we won't count him. He was taking 3.8 catch and shoot threes a game.
Yeah, which is good.
Only connecting on 26%.
Dub hardly takes any pull up, so I wonder well, yeah, I'm gonna say he's next, but then there is Wiggs.
It's him and Wiggs next. 3.2 per Dub. This is in the last 15 games, by the way. 3.2 attempts at 22.9% for J-Dub.
Yeah, that's not a great percentage right there.
It
seems like something that is unsustainably bad.
Yeah, it is. And they've, again, just for anyone who's counting at home, they've lost 1 game during this stretch.
Yeah, not by far, by the way.
Yeah. Wiggs, 3 attempts at 41%. Yep. And then Jay Will is shooting 35% on 3 attempts. Kaysen Wallace is at 2.7 attempts. You know what he's shooting?
I would say pretty high, like 41.
42.
Yeah.
He's shot it so much better. I mean, remember early on in the season, it was kind of scary. Like what was going on with him.
Look,
let me see if I can pull it up.
I can say it now. I didn't want to jinx it, but I remember, I think it was game 1 or game 2 of the regular season when he took a pass in the corner. He just didn't lower the ball and shot it immediately and went in.
Yeah.
And then he started shooting like poorly and said, no, that can't be right. If you make that kind of shot, and he made it like 1 or 2 times, it's not just 1 time, where it's something that he clearly worked on. And it's one of the most difficult things to do. I remember Kevin Durant discussing, hey, it took me a summer to learn that from Anthony Morrow.
Yep.
To just not lower the ball and immediately race for a shot. Mm-hmm. So I felt like, yeah, this is a moment. Like J-Dub, these are just moments. It's not who they are as shooters.
Yeah. Yeah, he in his first 20 games of the season, Kaysen Wallace shot 27% on catch and shoot threes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's not great.
Yeah.
Lu Dort, just steady as he can be, was 42%.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's taking great threes, and mostly those are wide open because teams are not yet trusting his shot, which starts to be a little bit wrong, in my opinion. Like, yeah, I know it's just 1 season, but now it's 1 season and another 40 games, and he's shooting 40% on a lot of attempts. I know that it's okay to leave Lu Dort a little bit more open than Isaiah Joe, because the time that it takes Lu Dort to take a shot compared to Joe, it's maybe a split second of difference. So you can cover a little bit more ground closing out on Lu Dort compared to Isaiah Joe.
Mm-hmm.
But you should really close out. Like that is one of the most efficient shots you can give to a team. Lu Dort is generating 1.26 points per possession. I mean, look, that's the best team in the league right there if you let him shoot. So I really wonder.
Yeah. It is pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting to see because this team, they've obviously had moments where they're clicking in the game in New York, and even yesterday's game, it was the shots are falling and they're playing great defense, and the other teams just aren't playing well. But it'll be interesting to see if these guys that we know are good shooters, J-Dub, I mentioned him, the last 15 games shooting like 22% on catch and shoots. I mean, the first 20 games for him, he was 47% on catch and shoot threes. It's all averaging out for him. I mean, if you now just look at this team, he's definitely a player that when it averages all out, like he's a very good 3-point shooter, and these guys are very good shooters. And so you just wonder if they could get this clicking, which is kind of the goal of the regular season, is like, how can we make this repeatable in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Jay's talked about it. Mark's talked about it. There's even been games where Mark has like come to the podium after like a big win and he's just like not in the mood for it even. And I just wonder if just the motivation factor for him of them just like winning the whole thing is so important to them that even these big games just don't matter that much.
Yeah.
I just wonder about that. One last thing on catch and shoot threes, just because I'm looking at it right now. Who's shooting the best? If we're not talking about like number of attempts, that goes out the window. Who's shooting the best for the Thunder this season?
AJ Mitchell.
AJ's number 3, 44.4%. That for AJ, by the way. AJ is out for a little while.
Yeah. And that reminded me that I have to say something about this. Number of attempts. Oos?
Oos. Let's see. Oos is 27.3%.
Nice. Fantastic. Is it weirder or less weird than Oos?
It's not one that I would have guessed. I'll say that.
Okay. So it's either... Is it Kenrich Williams?
Kenrich is number 2, 44.6%. Kenrich is having a great season, by the way.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
having
amazing one.
a spectacular season, a nice bounce back season for Kenrich Williams. He's 52% from the field, 42% from 3, and shooting 93% on free throws.
Yeah.
He is having a 50, 40, 90 season for K-Rich. Not something that I thought would be possible, but here we are.
I know that it's not Hartenstein who missed every shot.
He misses everyone. He is at 0% because he's missed all of them.
Yeah. There is a nice guess from AD in the chat, and I will go with it. Is it Shea? Because the percentage are going to be lowered by his off the dribble attempts, which are basically every one of his attempts. So I wonder if that is correct.
Off the catch, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is 51.9% this season.
Wow. Yeah. It's not one of the moments where I would say, yeah, give him more, because I do think that is not the point, but it's nice to have that avenue. I think that it could be something where he tips into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean,
by the way,
he doesn't even take one a game. They played 30. He's played 38 games and he has taken 27. So
yeah,
it's noisy for sure because it's not very many attempts.
Yeah, exactly. On AJ Mitchell, I am actually against trading for another ball handler right now. It may be something extremely stupid on my part, but I do wonder if this is yet another opportunity to have guys like Wiggs, Kaysen, and Joe taking a slightly bigger role than what they can have with AJ, and just try to see how it works with them. Maybe having Hartenstein being a little bit more of a creator. Maybe when Caruso is back, you have that. So if you can get a player back where you can see like something that can work for you for the future, yeah, okay, that might be something.
Have one in Topic that they're going to be playing next year. Like who
exactly?
Like,
I mean, maybe you picked Topic because of BPA and not because you really feel that is the best fit for your team. I have no idea if that is the case.
Yeah,
and maybe someone really wants that, and you get a player in return that you can build on, which is slightly different. If that is the case and you want to build for the future, sure, do it. But if you have like a short rent just to patch the minutes that should have gone to AJ Mitchell, then I'm I think against it, because it's just, hey, you have Kaysen, you want to give him more on-ball reps. You can allow to lose a few more games just to see if he has it. So for me, it's, hey, let's play Wicks and Kaysen more.
I don't disagree at all. I think they have enough guys, especially whenever Chet comes back. I don't think that there's desperation to make some kind of move. If they did, it would have to be like a guy on an expiring deal that is like a veteran, in which if you gave up a second rounder, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's like whatever, that to me would be fine. But it's also a guy that's not going to come in and like demand a bunch of minutes. This team doesn't have a bunch of minutes to hand out. They're about to have a guy coming back that plays 30 plus minutes. And it feels like they don't have enough. It feels like they don't have enough minutes now to go around to everybody that needs it.
Yeah. 100%.
So yeah, I'm just, I don't know. I mean, I can't. I haven't watched this team one time this season and thought, man, this team needs to make a trade. Like I just haven't.
No. And against great defenses, that might be the case. Like having an extra creator can help. I mean, AJ Mitchell was playing well. I just want to see what Kaysen can do.
Yeah, I think it would be more beneficial. Now it's about like long-term goals versus going all in on this season, which I still think you can do both, which is difficult to do, but I think like this team can kind of do both. But I'm with you where I would like to see a little bit more from Kaysen Wallace. He's a guy that needs more opportunities, that can do more than what he's been given. If Kaysen Wallace was on the Wizards, he might be their best player. Like who knows what he could be. And so I think that expanding his role and also like giving J-Dub more possessions is not a bad thing.
Yeah. No.
And also giving Aaron Wiggins, which I mean, some of what's happened with AJ going down is that it's just opened up more minutes for Aaron Wiggins. And
and it seems like that is working.
Who of the Thunder fan base has ever said, you know what, we're going to need less minutes for Aaron Wiggins? Like says no one ever who's a Thunder fan, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it just.
I actually said it once.
I mean, you probably did. I don't know.
I said it.
I don't know.
The playing game. I was not enamored with the way in which he played defense on that game.
Sure. And I just don't know who the targets are that are out there that make sense.
No, I mean, it's a very, very long discussion. One can have a discussion about many players, including Cam Johnson. I had DMs. I had discussion with our great friend / podcast aficionado, Sportsman 405, and it got me thinking hard. And yeah, in some sense, if you can do the trade without removing both Wiggins and Joe, then it kind of makes sense. So I'm not against those kind of trades, but also like, why? Are you sure, 100% sure that it will be better? It seems that having a 6'8" shooter makes things better. But if you look at how teams are guarding Isaiah Joe, how teams are guarding Wiggins, I mean, that spacing is there.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's not a no. Again, I just made my point a lot about this topic in many times. But it's just, again, to me, I have the same feeling that you just stated before. Like, I don't think that this team needs a trade. I just think that this team needs to be whole and needs to see how it looks whole and then see maybe what it's missing, if anything.
Yeah. I was listening to the Ball podcast this morning, and they were just talking about potential trades, and they talked about a Cam Johnson trade, and they said it would be, in their mind, what a fair trade would be for Cam Johnson for the Thunder is Aaron Wiggins, Kenrich Williams, and Nikola Topic and a first-round pick.
If that is it's what it takes,
and who knows if that's what it would really take.
I don't think it's enough. I think the first-round picks are maybe 1.5 plus Topic, like a real one and another one.
Probably two firsts. included in this to go over the edge, but then you're giving up a lottery pick. You're giving up a player that has like almost more institutional knowledge than anybody else on the roster.
Yeah.
And you're giving up a guy in Aaron Wiggins who's on like this crazy value deal at $10.5 million.
Yeah, and I don't think that Kenrich is necessary. I think that you can put Oos there with 2 real picks.
Yeah, I would not include Kenrich in any trade.
Yeah,
for team reasons and personal reasons, just would not want him to be.
But Wicks, that is a great contract.
It's a great contract.
Yeah,
it's a guy that you can count on off the bench, who's going to make $10.5 million for a long. I mean, look at this, Michele.
No, I know. I would probably be more inclined to put Joe into the deal instead of Wicks.
In 2028, they have a team option for Aaron Wiggins at $7.9 million.
Yeah.
I mean, that is going to be an outrageous deal. And a guy like, he may not be on the Thunder by then. They may end up trading him before then. I just can't help but think that, one, he's getting better. He's only 26 years old.
Yeah.
And a guy that can do a little bit of everything. He's a really good shooter. He's become quietly a very, very good shooter.
Yeah.
And a guy that, just watching him against the Knicks, a week ago, like a little over a week ago, and what he did in that moment was pretty amazing. And also the way he played in game 1 against the Mavericks was pretty amazing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We're talking about a guy that is like getting his footing in the NBA, that is on this like crazy value contract, where when Cam's deal is up, Cam's going to make a ton of money.
Yeah.
A
ton.
Wiggs is locked in until 2028 on a team option for $7.9 million. Go ahead and pick it up. Go ahead and pick it up. Do it now.
Yeah. Yeah, I fully agree. Now, if you think about that trade with Joe, you can into your mind saying, okay, I'm getting the same level of shooter with 4 inches more, possibly a little bit less defensively, but like a different grab, or even the same gravity with a little bit more size. You can do that. Again, I don't think that is the.
It's not wild to think about. Also, he had a team option in 27 for 11.3.
Yeah, but I think that that is okay. I put a little bit more of my chips right now in, and I just think that it's better to bet on the next 2 seasons compared to later. And I think that might be something that you look at. Now, you don't pay really a lot. But Topic can be great. I don't know if he can be in OKC. If you're confident that he can be in OKC, then you don't do it. If you think that I just got BPA and like getting Cam Johnson instead of Isaiah Joe is a great improvement, then you might be inclined to do it.
It's gonna depend on their opinion of Nikola Topic in Brooklyn and in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And my guess is that there's a pretty high opinion of Nikola Topic in Oklahoma City, and that they're probably not going to be willing to trade him at this trade deadline. Like, to me, it just wouldn't make sense. And you can have varying opinions on him. I don't have much of an opinion because I haven't seen him play in the NBA yet. I have no idea what to think about him. And so, but I would guess that they're not about to trade him at the trade deadline. I would be pretty floored if that happened.
Yeah, same here. I was just trying to concoct a trade where OKC doesn't get any less depth than what they have right now. And this is one of the ways in which you do it. You do one-on-one with the shooters, and then you take 2 players that are outside of the rotation. That is.
Yeah. I'm not sitting here saying that they shouldn't do anything or that they couldn't do it. Like, of course, they could do whatever they want. They have the contracts, they have the assets, they have everything they need at their disposal to do whatever they would like to do. I'm just saying, I watch this team, and I really like this team the way that they are. And when you add Chet in, I think that you might have enough. And so that's where I'm just like, can we just see?
Yeah.
Before we disrupt this anymore? Because I think that adding Chet in will be disruptive enough to what they're trying to do. So that's all.
It won't be a 1-game adjustment time, I think. I don't think it will be a 20-game adjustment time either.
Yeah.
But it will take a little bit for that starting unit to click.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Good news is that we know that Chet doesn't have the attitude of Gordon Hayward. Thanks so much for not having the attitude of Gordon Hayward. No more of those on this roster. Get those guys out of here. Okay, Michele, anything else you want to get off your chest before we get out of here?
No, I think we said it all, including myself being down on Aaron Wiggins 2.5 years ago. So I think we covered everything.
Oh, totally. Okay. Thank you so much for listening to this show. Very much appreciate it. We have restocked the Big Dog shirts, so go check those out. We have another shirt coming at you here pretty quick. So keep your eyes peeled for a new Down to Dunk shirt. Let's see. Anything else going on? Yes, I'm having surgery on Thursday. And so I'm going to have some stuff locked and loaded for you guys for the following week. So that I'm not going to be on this podcast for a minute. So not looking forward to that at all. But Thundercats Thursday night, God, I'm still so bummed I'm not going to be there. I'll tell you, it's like it's bumming me out like every single day as we get closer to it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening. Really appreciate you guys. We got tons of people on YouTube right now. If all of you would hit the like button, that would make my day. That would just make my day so much better. If you could just, every single one that's in here, hit the like button, and probably give us more likes than we've ever had on any video. So that would be amazing. Hope you guys are doing great, and we will talk to you guys again on Wednesday.